there's a billion other people on this planet, you know what I mean? Like someone's gonna find it. You're giving me that face. You're thinking,
dude, this is just how I look. I don't know. This is how I
look. This is why I need you to have hair. I will take.
Oh, do I look crazy?
No, you look mad almost. Like I don't know if you're just also giving me like Korean angry.
I'm super like present right now. So like my present, dude. I went on a date last Friday. And I would just watch her talk, and then like 5 times she was like, you stare a lot. And I was like, you're talking, and she's like, yeah, but you don't look away. And I was like, I don't know, cause like you know why? Cause I used to never be able to make eye contact, and I had to force myself to just stare at people to train myself cause I had social anxiety. And no confidence, so I could never make eye contact with anybody.
Yeah.
And then I forced myself to just keep staring to the point where sometimes I don't know when to look away.
Yeah, no, I'm even now. I'm also trying. I'm like, no, you're right, because like people do. It's interesting because like people do. Isn't there like a study or something like with eye contact, like that is important. Like people, because if you don't make eye contact, they don't trust you. But now being on the other side of it, I'm like. Oh, I mean, I'm looking away. So.
Right, like I don't know, and there's been times where certain guys, they would feel intimidated by me, and they would admit later, I thought you used to be a gangbanger. And I was like, why? Dude, because your energy. And I was like, what energy are you talking about?
Your shaved head, man. It's a game changer. Have you ever done like a before and after? Like, have you showed people?
Dude, I should do that.
You should, because it is a game. You look way nicer.
When I had hair?
Yeah, you look so friendly. Like, I don't know. And it's not saying that like bald men look mean, but I think you just give off like MMA vibes or something.
Dude, I get that all the time. But why is that?
I don't know.
Is it because of my asshole face? I have an asshole face. Huh?
You kind of do. Well, smile. Yeah, you still give off like gay.
Damn, I give fuck.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've never known you to be nothing but friendly and super nice and chill. So, and I've never even heard you really talk about being a gangbanger. I don't know where this is coming from, but you give that strong energy, which is also a good thing though, because then no one will fuck with you. But it's also very interesting when like you pay attention. But also you do remind me of I have a homeboy. He's Filipino and he's like hella stupid, like very like masculine, like hetero dude, you know. He's trying so hard, but like you kind of remind. He also has a bald head.
Okay, so I remind you of stupidity and trying too hard.
Yo, this just recorded, huh?
Yeah.
No, but like a reform. Maybe you look super like I don't want to give you that compliment. I don't know if I want to finish that sentence.
No, just say it.
I was going to say, like, I don't know if the shaved head makes you come off more, like, masculine. Mm-hmm. Like, the type, like, you know how, like, it's kind of like maybe, like, a skinhead vibe? Yeah. But, like, because you're Asian, we know, like, you're not, like, a skinhead.
White power. I'm not white power.
You're not white power, but you might be like, oh, I still think women should stay in the kitchen, and I don't think people should have certain rights. I don't know.
Look, I'll say this. I don't think women should stay in the kitchen, but I like when they're in the kitchen and they cook for me. It feels nice, like motherly.
I think if...
That confused you, didn't it? Because you were like, was that misogynistic or was that genuine? Because it was genuine. Like, because it's nice. I like being taken care of, and like if they want to cook.
Yeah,
for me.
but I feel like this also just goes into like you have mommy issues. You know what I mean? Like if you want your partner to be the one to take care of you.
No, I cook too.
But you said I like it when a woman cooks for me because it's motherly.
I say motherly because it's kind of like when like I have more. So I dated women who had more masculine energy, and we would fight all the time, like argue, and then not MMA fight. That's crazy, but I
was like, that's why you shaved your head.
That's why I shaved my
head.
Because I fucking 5 out of 5 girls could not beat me in a fight. No, but
hey, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Diana starts fucking getting her hair tied. She's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
This is all for all women.
Yeah, that's why I invited you so we can fight each other.
There's strategy to that shit.
Yeah.
It's not always about size.
For sure. No, there's plenty of people that are short. They could beat me up, 100%. Yeah, but why does that always have to be like okay? So when you're in a relationship, all right, no. So before we go into that, so for me, I have more of like, I have the more masculine energy in terms of the dating, and then I like dating somebody with more feminine energy. Because that could be vice versa for regardless of if you're a male or a female. Because you could be a male with feminine energy and then date a woman with more masculine energy, and then there's a balance between that. And that's what I believe. At least in my experience when I've dated, different types of women.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess at the end too, there's always like, I mean, if you think about it, what technically is masculine energy, what technically is feminine energy, because gender within itself is just a social construct. Like we made that shit matter. And like it's not technically real, but like if your whole thing is like when you say masculine, is it like being protected, and then what exactly? So like when you say you like the feminine energy or like masculine energy, like what are the traits that you're looking for? Because like I feel like that when you say masculine and feminine, like that means different things. Because if you look at me and my girlfriend, right? You've met Kayla. Yeah. Like she like she has short hair. Some people consider that masculine, but like personality wise, she's definitely more feminine than I am.
Oh, I'm talking personality. I'm not talking anything about like superficial.
Like, look, so, but like what, but then there's other things like she also like she protects us from bugs. You know what I mean? Like, so like that's technically the masculine side. So it's like trait by trait. So it's like, what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for someone that can cook for you and like protect you from like what?
I know what you're saying because there are people that like overly categorize everything. It has to be this thing. To consider. But I just mean at the core. There's deviations, of course. And and then there's feminine traits, not traits, but like energy that I have as well for things. Like everybody has both, but I believe there's more of a driving force for each person. Like you're either gonna be more masculine, like energy driven, or more feminine energy driven. Like naturally, like softer. That's what I mean. Softer versus like I'm gonna take my shit. Like this, like
Okay, so you're talking about like aggressive. Yeah, I guess I'm just like asking like specifically what would you describe? Like what certain characteristics and traits would you describe that like you like or knows?
Like letting me be the fucking guy who's fucking, I'm more assertive, I'm more aggressive. I'll take the reins on certain things, Okay. And then she's gonna take the reins on certain things too, but I'm talking more on like, I don't know, I like to be the one to fucking lead, hold a hand, do all that stuff. I don't want to be the one led on dates and out and about.
Okay.
And do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the masculine one.
Yeah,
that's what I'm realizing. I guess it's like also for me, I'm like, I mean, I guess I always thought that like I'm always like, oh, let me stand on the side of the street type of thing, but like that goes into protecting. But I guess like that type of stuff is like masculine protecting versus feminine protecting is like making sure you're taken care of and like
yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Which to me,
that's what I was trying to figure. I was like, I know there's
because you made me nervous when you asked me that because nobody really
get you
and you did the no not the cancel, but you did the Korean face to me too, and it made me flashback to all the times that I had Korean tutors, and I would start to sweat, and I would feel like I was gonna cry because I got nervous.
Dude,
when they would do that to me. Those glasses.
I do have. Is it the glasses? I do make people cry though.
Pull up your glasses to your head.
Is it? What's wrong? What do you mean to my head?
No, I mean like
off.
Yeah, dude, you look so much. See, my shaved head.
I'm sorry. Dude, finish that sentence. What were you gonna say? Did you say I look so much better?
Nicer, like a kinder person.
Oh,
yeah. The glasses makes you look like you're very judgmental.
Really?
And you're just like, see, right now I could see the softness of the Korean eyes. Like, hey, I've been through some shit. We can maybe cry together, and we're late on things.
Really? I thought the glasses made me more approachable.
No, dude. No. This is my first time seeing you without glasses. And the nervousness I felt when you're like, okay, what do you mean by that? Tell me. Because
I know this gave like science, like I'm studying vibes.
No. It was until you asked me a question that made me think way too hard, and I got so nervous, and I was like, so that when you ask a specific type of question, then you change. Same with me, my shaved head. I guess that's the equivalent of that. Kind of. Okay,
we're gonna go with, if we're going with a nicer thing, but when you concentrate, I think I was like, wait, you went from head to. I was like, we also share the eye thing. I don't know.
We do. No, see, you were concentrating also.
That's true.
Because admit this, you were searching to be like, what is he getting at? I want to know, not to like hurt me, but you're like, okay, let's find out if you know what you're talking about, or like, what is it really?
Well, because I also don't know what I'm talking. But the thing is, like, when I've been told when I have a concentrating face, I look dumb, like no one's home. But you look like everyone's home. Everyone's staring at you.
That's what it feels like, and maybe that's the I had to train myself to be more assertive in life, and like I said, I had to train myself to fucking look at people in the eye because I couldn't do it before. So maybe that's the whole thing that I don't know. It's fucking weird. Who knows? But going back to the masculine whatever. So the protection.
Yeah.
That thing that also adds heavily into what I mean as well. Like the physical protection and like it's gonna be both feminine energy and physical masculine energy both can say in their own way it's gonna be okay, but in their, you know what I mean? But yeah.
What do you think about that whole thing where like when guys when like, and I feel like this can take out of gender, but like people, this is in terms of gender, like when you tell a problem to a guy wants to fix it. When you tell a problem to a woman, she empathizes. Do you think that's true? Like, or do you think that's like a masculine way of approaching it and a feminine way of approaching it?
Versus, oh, you mean like sex, like women do this, men do this?
Yeah. Do you think that's true? Or do you think that is like more person by person?
That's a really good question that I have never been asked, but I would say that from my anecdotal experience, majority of the time, it is much more, even in like the butch woman, like fucking manly woman, like they can fucking was it change a tire?
I love that that's your standard for masculinity.
That's masculine to me. No, it is. Do you know how many guys can't do that?
That's how guys can't do that. I thought that was like a requirement for
trust
guys
me,
to do that.
Guys fake a lot of shit. A lot of guys can't do that.
Wow, they talk hella shit for not being able to change a tire.
Yeah.
I learned so much from you.
No, I'm telling you, like there's a lot of fake wannabe man fronting going on in this world.
Do you think it's an LA thing? Okay, no, let's go back to the tire thing.
Yeah, the tire thing. Okay.
The like fixing the problem versus like just listening to it. And
but even then, what I found is, they can be like I'm fucking here, like I'll protect my girl.
Yeah.
And that fucking lesbian whatever relationship thing. But then if I go to them and I'm like, dude, this thing happened, and they're like, hey, it's okay. Hey, no, it's fine. Just what's going on? Like it comes out. Yeah. So at the core, there's like this kind of nurturing energy that's there.
Okay.
That I felt from women.
Okay.
Regardless of if they are more masculine in their relationship or not, energy wise. But also sometimes I met some that were like you'll fucking get over it. But it depends on like the level of what the issue is that I'm bringing up. But generally, guys are very dismissive as fuck about that stuff, and that's how we fucking kill ourselves. That's why I love that's why I love talking to my woman friends about like sad stuff or whatever, because they know how to talk to me about things, and they help bring communicate in a way that helps me figure out what's going on, because they're patient with it and they're really empathetic on that.
This makes sense why I lose a lot of female friends very quickly, because I'm not good at that.
Oh, you're not?
Because like for me, like if you have a problem or issue, like my instinct is to like help you problem solve. And I'm just learning, and like recently in the last year, primarily like through TikTok and like, TikTok. It's like, bitches have feelings, and sometimes they just want to like talk about feelings. And when I say bitches, I mean like universally, like everybody, but like everyone they want to just talk about it. They don't want you to solve it. They want to just like have someone listening. And I didn't know that was an option, that you can just listen, like not have to fix. And then I saw somewhere it was like, oh, that's how men respond to issues or respond to someone coming to them with a problem. And I was like, oh, so I'm sure like that's why a lot of my female friends like get upset, because they're like, you're not supposed to be doing it like this. Like you're supposed to just be like nice and like comforting. Respond nicely
instead of just listening.
Yeah, with like empathy. But like for me, I'm just like because and you probably relate to this too. Like I don't know, like with Koreans, like we don't like emotions and stuff. It's like it's that shit gets in the way. Just fix the problem, move on. And like it's just like how like it's very like how do you get to the next thing? It's like survival mentality versus like having time to deal with emotions. And so like I just started getting into emotions and like starting to process that, and also like learning how to like respond when people tell me their problems and just be like, oh yeah, you're right, that sucks, instead of being like, well, if you did this wouldn't be a problem anymore. And like not everyone likes that, apparently.
Yeah.
But I see that most because with my guy friends, it's chill, like we can talk like that. But with my female friends, like I've lost a lot of friends because they think I'm like too callous, or like I don't really care in a sense. I don't know, like they just don't feel comfortable talking to me in a certain way. And also like sometimes they're not ready to hear things. Like depending on if my friend has gone through therapy, like I have a friend that's gone through therapy. We had a conversation and I was like honest with them about some stuff, and they're like, I'm just not ready to hear it. Versus a friend that hasn't had therapy will just like, we just won't be friends anymore.
If they haven't had therapy.
Yeah, because they're just like, I don't know how to like talk to you because you make me feel bad. You make me feel like it's my fault or something, when I'm just like, it's not your fault, but you can do something to change your situation.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because then, see, then when it comes to that, people, what I'm seeing more and more is that people kind of have a lot of people have a problem of there's like kind of like a victim mentality of it's blame everything else except how do I hold myself accountable?
Yes.
That is the thing that makes you lose friends, which have made me lost a ton of friends too.
Yeah.
Because how many times you're going to tell me the same thing over and over and over, and you're just repeating the issue where there's a simple fix, but it's like you don't want to fix it and you want to continue the narrative so you can just talk about it.
And that gets to my issue, because it's like it's hard for me too. It's like I feel like it's hard to watch someone that you care about live in this cycle where they're unhappy, and like I am going through that with a friend. Also, depending on when you release this, we'll see if we're still friends. But like, like we didn't talk for like almost 6 months because I was like, yo, I think you need to get a new job. Like, you're just so depressed all the time. And they did not like that. They didn't like to hear that they needed to change their situation, or like they needed to do something else, because they're in their mind, they're like, I know my job sucks, I'm complaining about it to you. And like they just wanted me to constantly be like, yeah, you're right, that sucks. Because on the flip end of that too, if you're on your own journey of bettering yourself, right, and wanting to make changes for your life, constantly having someone feed in, just constantly being negative because they just need a release, I think it's harder to like just sit there and be like, yeah, you're right, that sucks. Because I feel like if you're also working on it, you also know that it doesn't have to be this way. And like for me, it's like finding that balance of like, oh yeah, no, this sucks, and also like being like, okay, but like I do care about you, I want you to be happy. But I think also like that's how like self-help stuff, like I started getting into self-help and like productivity stuff, and like it feels culty a little bit, because it's like you hear this and it's like great, and you just want everybody to be on the same page and like tell everyone about it.
Secret sauce.
It feels like it is the secret sauce, and you're like, oh no, this can't, like I want you to share in this, like I want you to be part of like this happiness and like share this, the secret that that's why that book's probably called The Secret.
Yeah. But now it's not a secret.
No, it's not a secret, but it kind of is, because like some people don't do the work, right? And but that is the secret, is like, I didn't do The Secret. I read another one that was like about gratitude. That's from the same people that did The Secret, and that to me felt like that was the secret too. Was that like how learning to exercise gratefulness and gratitude in your life introduces and brings more of that in. Yeah. But that was a lot of like, I had to do a whole workbook. I felt so Korean about it too. I was like, I need a workbook, I need exercises, I need to be told what to do, and then I'm able to do it more. But it is a lot of work. And so when I see my friends like kind of struggling, like I want to kind of help them, because I'm like, oh, I kind of went through this too. But then I feel like if that person's not ready to hear it, like that's when the friendship kind of just like, you can't carry on from that, I feel like.
No, but that's exactly the thing, because I would try to help friends in the past when, again, the answer seems so clear, but then they like resent you for it. They almost hate you for it.
Yeah.
But what I've also learned is, dude, sometimes people just aren't ready to hear it at the time or ever. And that's when it's like,
you kind of gotta distance yourself, and eventually you go completely separate ways. And I am completely, and if I kept doing that, because then you're hurting yourself by enabling them, because then you're going to be around that, and if you're around that all the time, then it's going to fuck up your head, and really it could ruin your life potentially, right? And I mean, the people in the past, like one guy said, Mike, you think too much. Sometimes just don't think. But if you're not thinking about certain things, you're not going to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And because if I listened to him, then we wouldn't be here talking. I wouldn't have started to pursue my dreams and got out of that misery where I wanted to die every day.
Yeah.
You know, don't think, get drunk, try to forget about it.
Yeah.
Versus active solution seeking.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel like when the people's solution, when they're talking to you like that too, it also comes into like kind of like how you're saying, it's like wanting to be the victim. It's a pity party, and they want you to join and stay on their level, because if they see you start succeeding or you doing your thing and they're not ready, that resentment just grows and grows, you know, and they're gonna just try to constantly like bring you back, because like, yeah, dude, like that is, or like that's kind of, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Like I had a very similar, before my start with comedy, was like there was a lot of heavy drinking, heavy drug use, because it was just like waking up just not wanting to live anymore. And I actually, one of the things that when I made the decision to start comedy, I actually ended up in the psych ward, because I woke up one day and I was like, I can't. I'm going to either kill myself or I'm going to get help, because I lost a friend to suicide, and I also like had my first booked show in a couple months, and I was like, well, you don't want to like, I don't want to miss my first show, you know. And so I was like, all right, like let's get help. And like, but dude, like I didn't know it then, but like they kept waking me up every night because they had to check my pulse, because apparently like when I went in, like my blood alcohol was like 0.32 or something.
Oh shit.
And like, but they tested me 7 hours after I had my last drink, and I only had a beer then. And so the night before was when I was heavily drinking, and like they were basically like, you should have died, like, because like I was smaller. I might not by much, but like I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I was just like only a little bit smaller, but like.
But you were smaller.
But I'm like kind of like this. Like I shouldn't be drink. There's not a point. Like my blood alcohol was higher than that, and there was my friends told me I actually tried to jump out of the car when they were driving home. When
Why?
we were driving, I don't know. They had to. I was opening the door trying to get out of the car.
Were you laughing?
No, I don't think they said I was laughing. I don't remember it. I don't remember a lot of it.
Damn.
But like it really was like, you know, I think like I had to like kind of like break down completely to rebuild myself. But I was also like, a lot of those friends I don't really have in my life anymore. And I sometimes I get sad about it, because like, you know, when you go through tough shit and you have those people around you, you think those are like your ride or die homies, you know, like when you've gone through some stuff. But then like sometimes it comes down to like, maybe there's a reason, like, you know, like people are in there for a season, not forever type of thing, you know. But like, yeah, like I realized I was surrounding myself with people who were like using drugs and alcohol to forget. And that's how the only way I learned how to cope, versus like when I found comedy, like as weird as it is, because we're all fucked up. All comics are fucked up. They're all depressed. They're all messed up. But like I found different avenues on how to treat myself better and get help, and like kind of want to be okay. I think just the desire to want to be okay was like a huge game changer. Like I think that changes when you do start pursuing what you're and I'm trying to stay away from like what your purpose is, because I think that can also change, and I feel like that's too much pressure for something. But like what you're curious about, because I listened to this podcast that was like, despair is just the fear of the same thing happening. This is going to be forever. That's what despair is. That's where depression comes from. And the opposite of depression really isn't just like being happy. It's curiosity. Because when you're curious, you just think about different things, right? You don't think this is always going to be the same thing. You think this is going to be something new and different. And so I'm trying to approach things now about like, oh, what am I curious about? Not necessarily like what makes me happy. Because I feel like happiness is also fleeting, and especially like for me, like I have mental illness, like something sometimes like doesn't matter what it is, it's not gonna make me happy. Like there's just gonna be those days.
Yeah, because it's impossible to be peak level happiness each day. That's not real.
It's not real, but like I feel like people, there is this idea of like it being real. And I think it comes off more in social media. Like I think especially with the pandemic, we did lose like that connection to each other, to know that like there's more behind these like living your best life photos or reels or whatever the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I hate that shit, to be honest. Way to go, ha, look at us, we're fucking Bahamas. Yeah. It's like, woo! And then afterwards they're like on their phones maybe, or just drinking a little thing, and just, it's very calm.
Yeah.
It's not, woo, yeah. I hate that shit. It
never feels genuine too, but then it's also the things that are constantly, it doesn't matter whether I feel like if you believe it or not, it's the fact that at the end of the day you're bombarded with this imagery and constantly fed, you're not happy or you're not living your best life if you're not doing this.
True. If you're not eating shrimp fucking cocktails every day on a 50th story hotel.
Do you want some shrimp, bro? I feel like this is the second
I said shrimp
time.
Earlier,
yeah,
huh?
I was talking about how I think I like overdid it at Cheesecake Factory and was like, that's what you get for eating shrimp. I was like, damn.
I think I'm projecting. You know, actually, as soon as you said that,
shrimp?
my brain said yes. Shrimp, boiling crab. I do want that.
Yo, you are projecting. You should go get some. Get that fixed before you like just like. I mean, Halloween's over, but like, what if like there was a shrimp person out there and you just attack him? You're like, fuck you for like being in my face.
Dude, I will get that. But you know, I have a doctor's appointment Friday, so I can't have my blood pressure go up too high. I want to know what my I haven't been to the doctor in a while, so I'm going to find out if I'm going to be fucking. Sometimes I think I might be pre-diabetic or something. I've been eating bad, so like real bad.
Oh, dude, be careful. I'm pre-diabetic.
Are you really?
Yeah. Did I tell you what happened with my eye? We were hanging out when my eye got all fucked up. No.
Yeah. What happened to your eye?
So like it turned out to be stress, but the doctor, the neurologist they sent me to, it's kind of a bitch because she was like, "Oh, it's probably syphilis." And I was like, it was a phone appointment, so I was like, I know she can't see what I look like. If she knew what I look like, she probably wouldn't call, be like, oh, it's obviously gonna be syphilis, And then like after like they tested for it wasn't syphilis, and so like my primary was just treating me for stress because like it was my day job, dude. It was too much. And then, so I thought everything was done. And then I get a phone call from the neurologist like weeks later. And she was like, I just want to say, I noticed that in your chart, you've been pre-diabetic for like 2 years now. Wow. So when you're pre-diabetic for a long time, sometimes cells just start dying and are like not working. And she was like, that's probably what happened to your eye. So you really need to watch your pre-diabetes. And I was like, you're a neurologist, bitch. Like, calm down. Like, I think if anything, like, I think you're making this up, but it was like very weird. Felt like she was calling me a slut and fat and like just one issue.
Dude, she sex shamed you and fat shamed you.
It was really, I mean, she was Asian. Like that.
That's such a very Asian thing to do. It was, yeah. She hated you as soon as you walked in.
Well, that's the thing. She's never seen me, dude.
Yeah.
Until she looked at my blood and then saw my weight and then she looked at the chart.
On the phone, right?
After she did. I don't think she even looked at my chart or whatever before, because like for her to even say syphilis, I was like, this feels odd. It's not like I have any history of STDs or anything like that. So it's like very odd.
She's just trying to insult you, dude.
Yeah, because also can lesbians get syphilis? I mean, I think anyone can get syphilis, right? Technically, but
I don't even really know what syphilis is, to be honest.
Syphilis is the one oh fuck, am I getting it confused with gonorrhea? I think there's sores involved.
Okay.
Like open sores, but like if you're like, I can understand as a dude because sometimes you just put it in holes and you don't really look, right?
All the time,
right? Because especially like if dudes aren't in like a habit of like going down, and you're not really like.
I'm not that guy. I don't like that.
You don't like going.
I don't like doing that.
I mean, there's a difference between not liking it and do not do it at all.
I'll do it if they have very nice, smooth legs. And it doesn't smell. Or if they say, I'm not going to suck your dick if you don't do it. And I'm like, fuck. So you have to hold me hostage to make me do it, essentially. It's like being waterboarded.
I think that's kind of, if you do it right, it probably does feel like being waterboarded.
Yeah.
Is that why you don't like it?
I just don't like it.
Okay.
Because I love the vagina, but I kind of hate it at the same time because if it smells, like really smells, it makes me.
Well, that's like a health issue. I don't think it's supposed to smell so bad that like it's gross.
Dude, I've smelled when it was like bad, like worse than an asshole with shit on it.
Yeah, but like when that happens, I feel like it's fair to not. Have you powered through that?
Not
before?
my mouth on. Only one time.
Oh.
But I was shit faced.
Oh.
And she was Indian.
Dude, not
and
gonna lie, I got a little.
Right. No, it's because I was shit faced. But besides that, if it smells like that, I never go down there. And when I'm doing it, when I'm fucking them, I'll lift my head up as far away from the stench as possible. So, but now I have a very hard time doing that because I'm in my 30s now and I have more standards for myself and yeah, why are we talking about this?
I'm also a little kind of
from syphilis to eating
oh
pussy.
yeah, no, but I think there's sores involved, so that's why I'm like, oh, maybe it's less common for lesbians because like we are more attentive to that. Like if you see an open wound, you're not going to be like, let's just keep going.
Can it be inside the cave walls?
See, that's what I don't know. I didn't know that. If that's an option.
Yeah, is it just exterior, like around
I thought everything was exterior because it's like one of those things that like gonorrhea you can see, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of the same thing, but now I don't know.
Maybe it is because nobody really talks about the interior, but I feel like that's a valid question.
You should have a gynecologist. I'm gonna watch that episode. Have a gynecologist on.
I actually should get a guy. Actually, I should write that down.
Well, because
that's great. I am gonna
especially
get a gynecologist
if you're gonna
on.
talk about these stories because maybe they can give you like advice or like. So actually, maybe that's not what a woman wants to hear. Can you? You're hooking up and you're like, hey, I noticed this smell and I just spoke to a gynecologist.
Or you're eating her pussy out and then you like after 10 seconds you go, your pH level seemed very off.
Women, we just established women don't like being told solutions. They just want empathy. So
I need to ask you. You're a lesbian.
Yes.
And you've had your fair share of vaginas, right?
Okay.
Fair share?
Yeah, I'm a lesbian, but I'm still awkward as fuck. Like that not fair share. Like I've had a couple.
Okay.
But I probably had less vaginas than you, to be perfectly honest.
I've had a decent amount.
Yeah. You look like someone that would have. Is this pre or post shaved head?
More pre because I had nothing going for me, so I had to get laid to prove to myself that I was.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that was the only time I felt like I had something going on. But okay, so you've had your fair share of vaginas subjectively, and do you still put your mouth on it if it smells bad? Like bad?
Well, I've also been in a monogamous relationship for 7 years.
Not talking about her.
And I have to just clarify, my girl's
not
clean.
her.
Not her. She's clean.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
She's a goddess.
I've been lucky in this situation. I've never been confronted with having to. There's been times I find out a little later how bad it was. Like I don't go, like I do like a check, like, like you use your hands, you check. And then if it's bad, I don't go. So I never find myself in a situation where I'm down there and then I'm like trapped.
Yeah.
I think that's where it becomes an issue. Like otherwise, if
you're trapped, what do they wrap their legs around?
No, but like
you're going nowhere.
There's something fucked up if you're like, oh yeah, I'll go down on you, and then you're down there and you're like, I changed my mind. Like that'd be worse, wouldn't it?
But what if you don't say anything and you just silently move up and then just use your fat hands?
Well, I feel like if you,
how would they know if you're not?
Well, if you don't say anything, then yeah. But if you go down, I feel like that's kind of a tease.
No, you know what?
No.
This is what you do. This is what I do. I go, oh my god, and I go up and then use my hands and then I kiss them and I'm like, I love kissing you so much. Right,
dude. That's.
Oh, because you're sharing it?
No, I mean that's not. No,
I just right.
It's very sneaky, and I'm like not okay with.
No, that's smooth though. Isn't that smooth?
It is very smooth.
Because then I'm not hurting her feelings.
But yeah, that's true. But you also just put this on a podcast, and I'm pretty sure now any girl is like, that dude, he said he loved kissing me. That
dude, I've been pulling back a lot more about what I say in terms of dating now because I shared so much in the past. I'm 100% positive that it has either turned some girls off or maybe turned them on. I don't know. Of like, oh, like I don't care. He's like an asshole, but I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just being very honest about just what it is. Honestly, I lied about the being turned on thing. I'm pretty sure like 90% of them are like, I don't want to talk to this guy anymore.
Really? I always wondered about that. Like how, because like I feel like sometimes when it comes to like men comics, I'm always like, huh. I feel like women put up with a lot more. Like straight women put up with a lot more from male comment or male dudes.
Like for sharing information
dudes,
or
just like overall fuckery. Or maybe everyone puts up with fuckery, but sometimes I see. Okay, there's this one. This is just a recent example. That's not even the worst example, but like there was this one time I was talking to a comic and he had this girl with him. He came up with came up to us to say hi. We're like in a group, right? Came up to us to say hi. Didn't even introduce this girl, right? Yeah. And then we were talking. We know each other like way back, and then he like did this LA glance. Do you know the LA glance? Where they like they're talking to you, but they're looking for someone more famous.
Oh yeah, they're like they smile and then go eye darts for a second. Everyone's.
So I saw him kind of look. I was like, whatever. He's talking, you know, like he just brought this girl. He's probably gonna stay for a little bit. He's in mid sentence, fucking leaves.
Wow.
And this poor girl is just standing there. Hella awkward because she wasn't introduced to the group before. Like, I don't think she knows how really to interact with people. It was just a very weird situation. And like, all of us were just like, damn, you put up with that? Yeah. Like, I feel like that's super disrespectful.
No, 100%.
Right? But like, I always see that. And it's always really hot women with like not hot male comics.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I'm like kind of surprised. Like, I would imagine they would hear this and be like, oh no, that's it. I like that toxic shit.
If you think I'm ugly, just say it, Diana.
No, I think. No,
I'm just kidding. No. What?
I don't want anything cut but that me not calling you up. You're a beautiful man.
Thank you. That's what I needed to hear. I was gonna cry if you didn't.
No,
do that.
you are.
Because earlier you asked me, you were like, dude, you're just like. So what do you mean by masculine and feminine energy? And I felt scared when you asked me that. And then you take me back to when everybody called me ugly. Dude, people blocked me on AOL Instant Messenger in middle school, and I never really talked to them because they thought I was ugly. They talked shit about me.
Really?
Back then. No.
Dude, you weren't ugly though. Like
No, that's high school. Like I was really extra awkward, but I also thought I was ugly because people made me believe I was ugly. So I gave off ugly energy on top of that.
Dude, you know what I realized? It really is about energy because like there's a lot of people that are like not that like conventionally attractive, but physically, it is right? Physically, and it's like but it's also like physical to like Western standards, right? Like there's standards are always different, but like you look at them, you're like, huh? But then like you talk to them, you hang with them, you're like, oh no, I get why. Like it is about swag, and I feel like in elementary school. That's always hard. Like I don't think anyone teaches you. It's like you don't actually have to look this way. You just have to like fucking own your shit.
Facts.
But also like that surprised me because the one Korean kid that I really knew that you kind of remind me of a little bit is like he was like popular and everyone thought he was attractive. Like he was one of the kids that always got like, oh, like who's your crush? And they'll always be like,
oh yeah.
So, but like he was like, you know, in the 90s, like Asian men in particular were not seen as attractive, but it was because his parents owned a clothing shop and he was always dressed like in the nicest hip like clothes. And so, so it was that swag because you know, like it was weird because like I got made fun of for like having chinky eyes and I was like, dude, that he has the same eyes, but you guys think he's hot. Like I was not fucking fair.
Yeah, and I guess and you're right. It is the energy thing because I didn't have that at all back then, you know. So I had to develop into this, and that changed the game for a lot of things, right? But that comedian thing that the guys do where they just kind of leave the girls hanging. That thing. Those are just more of the guys that probably put up a front and do weird shit.
That's very,
you know, because
very
like
true.
I don't do that. I think that's fucked up.
That is fucked up, but like that's what I mean. Is like I feel like sometimes like people, and I, you know, I'm trying to get away from like being like, oh, like straight people are like this, and you know whatever. But like sometimes though, I feel like as a whole, I don't know if straight women think that like oh, because they use the excuse like, oh, that's just how guys are when they're shitty, you know. Like I feel like there's been a lot of like excuse for, like, you know,
I see. But
and so they're like, oh, I just have to put up with it, like he's good in like other things. It's like, nah, dude, like disrespect is disrespect.
Yeah.
But like,
but that's also an issue on their own for their own standards and being able to have boundaries and standing up for themselves, because there are like stand-up dudes out there, like, well, not stand-up comedy dudes, but like good dudes out there who will give, you know, show respect and can still be assertive and not be like a simp that agrees everything that you say, but still, you know, like, because guys feel like there's a lot of shitty dating advice out there about, you know, telling guys to be essentially toxic in terms of just trying to ruffle feathers on purpose and just being a fucking asshole to be an asshole.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between being an asshole and like a fuckhead to like attract girls, and being somebody who is a dude who has, you know, values, morals, and going back to it also, able to stand up for himself and doesn't have to agree with everything and can be assertive and say, no, this is what I feel about that. And that's like a way of creating like positive tension instead of that other like way, which is the negative tension to make it exciting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point, because it is like, you know, people think like, you know, that toxic shit is exciting. That's why people gravitate towards it. But you're right. It's just tension. Yeah. And there is like positive tension. And I think that is like, I never heard it talked about it like that, but that is very smart. Wow, dude. Good on. Dude, that was good. Like, that's good dating advice.
Was that good?
That was really good, because no, bitches need to know, like, there's like positive and negative tension. Like, you're so right. Like, and like it's kind of like I just learned this thing too. It's like anxiety or nervousness is like when you're in a negative mindset, you automatically go to anxiety, versus nervousness could also mean excitement. And it's just like knowing that there's like two sides to every emotion or everything. And I didn't realize that with tension. I mean, I wish I knew that when I was in my 20s. That would have saved so much.
Right.
So much stress. But so what was the change for you when you, because do you still think you're ugly now? Or do you have...
No, I don't think I'm... Sorry.
That came out so bad.
No, the way you asked.
This is what I mean. I'm so bad at wording shit, and I just like, because I'm thinking too, so I just say the words and I'm like, they can figure out the emotions, but that's not nice to do to people.
No. I like that. Like, you don't gotta fuck. It's not what you said. The way you said it was just like you slowed the cadence down by maybe like a quarter, like a split second. And it was just like very scholarly. Like, so do you think like a therapist? Like, so do you still think? And then your hands on the table with your fucking fingers like Spider-Man. So do you still think you're ugly now? Or like, it was just hilarious.
Where is your self-worth now?
Yeah, my self-worth. That sounds more like an attack now. Okay. No, I don't think that at all. You know, I've learned to accept myself fully in a way where I don't walk around thinking like, oh, I'm the shit. But because I accept myself so much now, including like the shaved head and all that stuff, I just, you know, and all my insecurities about my physical stuff, like I've embraced them now. And that just makes me feel confident without trying to be confident. Like, I don't frame it like as confidence, but it will definitely come out like what you're saying, comes across as confident because of the high level of self-acceptance. So like, I used to think that I wouldn't be, if a girl was at a certain attractive scale, that I wasn't supposed to be in their presence. But I don't feel that way at all now. I don't give a fuck. I don't care now.
Yeah. That's different. Like when you start thinking like, oh, I don't have value. And I went to an energy healer and she called me out on it. She's like, I know like sometimes you feel like you go into rooms and you're like, oh, I don't deserve to be here. Like that type of thing, it really fucks with me in comedy. But it's also like, I always never thought I was attractive, and that kind of took, and I do still struggle with that a lot. But I am feeling better about myself, because like when I went to the energy healer, she told me like, you exist, therefore you have value. Your value is not tied to what you do. Your value is not tied to how you look. The fact that you're here, you have value, and it's not more or less than anyone else, and you shouldn't like do anything like put any shit like that on it. But like I think it is like kind of a game changer when you can embrace the qualities with yourself and then get that confidence, which is funny. Like I'm kind of surprised to hear that this is your journey, to be real, because like before we actually got to know each other, I thought you were one of those like kind of like super like broy dudes that thought like you were hot shit, you're like too good for, which
Really?
is funny. No, yeah, no, I like, because now I know you and I'm like, oh, that's so far. And I thought the shaved head thing too was kind of like you being like, no, like I'm like a meathead type of, I don't know what the fuck I thought you were, but like I totally thought you were kind of like a confident douche. But this is before you and I had a single word like said to each other. Like this is me just watching you.
Was it from like you observing how I would interact with like friends, or just the way I look and maybe the energy?
I think it was a lot of the energy. Like I thought you used to give off very like masculine, like alpha male energy, and like how you like you always are like the life of the party type of thing. And sometimes with guys like that, I always get a little weary because I'm like, oh, they're always gonna wanna one up you. They don't like women who are funny. Like it's like that's usually been my encounter with guys like that. But like knowing you, and I think the reason like you're not really like that is because you got to where you are because you came from a place where you had to work on it, versus if you were like born with like that type of confidence, you don't really, you know, have any self-awareness, and it's just like all about you. It's probably more about that narcissism when you're born and given everything, and
you don't have to go through the pain.
Like
true growing. And I mean, well, to tell you about the shaved head thing, I started doing that during the corona, the lockdown, because I used to have that military haircut, short on the sides, long on the top. But I started doing that because my biggest physical insecurity for 15 years of my life was the fact that I have wrinkles on my head, right?
Oh.
And but I didn't know what it looked like. So I thought it would be 10 times worse, like this.
Yeah.
Like fucking horrible.
Yeah.
So I would keep the top longer to hide it, and it drove me nuts. Like I'd be like, fuck, it's there. And it was like this demon that just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I was like, I need to face this. I need to know what it looks like. So then I started shaking my head during the lockdown to face the insecurity. That's 100% why I do it. Did it. And then I learned how to shave it better. And then now I do it to the skin. And then it became like a thing where it just practically made more sense, because when I have hair, I sweat a lot, and it would like kind of get smelly sometimes. And and then it turned out that I was like, you know what? I like the look. And it helped me. Doing that made me embrace myself as a whole so much more, because that was like the last thing. I was like, fuck, why is this why is it there? Why do I have this and other people don't have it? It really made me super. The first time I did it, I shaved it, I put it on YouTube, I recorded it, and I almost cried. I was terrified.
Shit.
Like I was terrified. And I was 20 or 30. I was 30, dude, and I almost fucking like
over. And when you describe it, I understand why you got so emotional. But like, you know, from an outsider too, it's also like I would never have thought like you would have had had to have gone through so much emotion to shave your head, because like I always thought that was one of the benefits of being a dude. It's just like shave your head, move on.
No, guys are terrified of balding. You don't even know, like the comments I see, the people I talk to, like guys are so scared of balding and losing they're like, my head's shaped weird. I know it is. I know. They're so insecure about that.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well,
I think that is so good to like that you took the thing you were most insecure about. And I think like, did you notice that like everything in your life, like career, life, personal relationships just changed because like that weight just got lifted? Like you embraced that one thing that you felt like was holding you back? Like do you think it was immediate or was it gradual?
Gradual, because I had to learn how to get used to it and go in public. I would wear hats.
It was stages too. Like you did the one big stage and then you covered it up.
I did. I would go to the Vons, the grocery store, and I'd walk in the aisle, and then I'd be like, all right, there's nobody here, so I'll take the hat off. But so to me, that was like walking in public with it.
Yeah.
Technically, right? I'm in public. Yeah. And then there'd be a person, I'd be like, oh, fuck, okay, don't put the hat on. Walk past them. And then when I walk past them, I'd put the hat on, because the back of my head, that's where there's more, deeper indentations. So I was like, if they look at the back of my head, they're going to fucking talk shit and make fun of me and this and that. So I would think these things. Yeah. And then slowly I would the exposure, I would wear the hat less and less, go to certain areas. If there's an attractive girl, I'd put it on immediately, and I'd be like, all right, if she's hot, fuck it, take it off, and then just like pretend like I'm like looking at the steak confidently in the meat section, but I'm like, fuck, there's an old lady to my left and a fucking like a 7-year-old boy and her mom to my right, and the 7-year-old kid's gonna be like, look at his head, mommy. I would think I would make this up.
You would make all the like worst case
24/7 everywhere.
Damn,
and
dude.
Now it's actually like a brand now.
I was just gonna say, like, I think like I can't imagine you. Like I do like you back then with the hair, just because I'm like, I don't know, you just kind of
friendlier.
You look friendlier. But on top of that, like as a comic and as an entertainer, your job isn't to look friendlier. Your job is to look unique. Your job is to look a way to stand out, and like your merch so much easier. You know, right? Yeah. Like people always have a thing that they need to kind of because there's so many people, so many things. Like you have to find something. And when I'm starting to realize, and now that you're saying it, it kind of like I think is driving the point home for me is like the thing that's gonna make you stand out, or the thing that is probably holding back anyone in life is like that one insecurity you have. If you don't know how to embrace it, you're basically gonna be stagnant. You're just kind of, you can't grow anymore. Yeah. And I think like cause like for me it's silly. I also have a hair thing. I'm trying to embrace my hair a lot more, cause I got made fun of, cause when cause it's like so thick and like it just goes out. Like when I was in elementary school, I went to elementary school in Korea for a couple summers, and everyone there would make fun of me, and because I would wear a headband, they'll say that I have like a lion's mane. Like my hair was like a lion's mane. Like it was just so thick and wild. And then it was also like embarrassing because like only male lions have lion's manes, so they're just like they're, and I was already misgendered a lot, and like I was already like always felt already too masculine with a lot of things, so like fed into that. And then like Kayla would always tell me to like get an undercut, because like my hair is so thick, I'm always so hot and stuff like that, and she was like, get an undercut, and I was like, no, then people are gonna know I'm a lesbian. And for 7 years, dude, I would just be like, no, people are gonna know I'm a lesbian. She's like, are you fucking serious? Because like I don't know if you like, when I first started comedy, like my parents, like this, they didn't get the gay thing right, and like they actually so I was dating a girl. I lived out of my car after we broke up. I finally was able to go back to my parents, but they kind of knew I was doing comedy because I quit golf. They kind of were dealing with that. But then they found one of my set lists, and I used to write out all my jokes like word for word, because I was like learning, like, when for me, like I have social anxiety. I have like fear of public speaking. So I was practicing word for word, and they read it and they're like so mad. They're like, you're advertising being gay and all of this stuff. So they kicked me out.
Wow, they kicked you out of the house.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kicked out many of times, but like that was like, they were like very like, we are so ashamed, and like we don't want people to know we have a gay kid, and so like you are advertising this on stage, like we cannot have that type of thing. And so like I think that really like was my insecurity of like even how I dress, dude. Like I just wear t-shirts and pants because I'm like I get so scared that people are gonna think I look too gay or like too butch, which is like
to this day
like still like wow. I really stick with just kind of like graphic like kind of unisex type of looking outfits and stuff, because I don't want to feel too feminine, because I always felt insecure about my body, and I don't want to look too masculine because I don't want people to think that I'm gay, which is stupid, because also like speaking from a comics perspective, like gay comics have a very good fan base. Like I should.
Oh yeah.
I need to like let
dude,
people know.
You gotta blow up. Just fucking shave
it all.
Shave it like me.
Oh my god! I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'm there yet with my security. Also, I have dents. I know I have holes here.
Holes in your head?
Yeah, because apparently I think like because I was a C-section baby, and I think back then they grab you with tongs. Yeah. Do you not have
like
dents?
Korean barbecue, dude? You're Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm super curious about also is like you, Koreans are very homophobic, especially back then. Like so, my dad like beat me because in third grade he never tickled me, but one day he tickled me and put me on the bed and tickled me out of nowhere, and I was like. It's like, stop being gay, because that's what we all said.
Yeah,
like, you gay lord, or that's gay. We didn't know what it meant. but we just said it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was like laughing at, and he's like, "What'd you say? Say it again." And I was like, "Stop being gay," and he threw me around, right?
Yeah.
And then and all that stuff, right? Because they're like they hate it so much. I had an earring too. My mom's like, "Are you gay?" Like at the time. But like
the earring, what a throwback.
Yeah, I was like, "To the left ear, left ear."
Right. But it's like the one side is like, which side? It's the left ear straight,
right ear is gay, right?
I remember that.
Yeah, but like you know, fucking. Okay, first of all, did you always know you were gay?
I don't think I knew I was gay. I knew I didn't really care for boys.
Yeah.
But because at that time too, like, so I'm 34, born in 88, so there's like most of the 90s, like, everything that's gay, I just knew that was bad and I didn't want to be associated with that. And then I found golf when I was like 12 and that became my whole life. I didn't think anything about sex or wanting to be with anyone. I was just like, I just want to be rich. That was it. I didn't have a sexuality. I just want to be rich. And so it was funny because
that was your sexuality.
It was just money.
Yeah.
But like,
what do you like? Fucking money. Yeah.
But like, when I realized it was when I went to college. I went to Washington State, and I was in like, I am very grateful for that, because what happened was I was actually supposed to go to Stanford.
Damn.
I was supposed to, and the coach fucked me over like last minute, and I had my swing coach had someone that went to Washington State, and they were able to talk to that coach and get me a full ride up there. And so I got there, and then during my freshman orientation, the counselor was someone who was like VP of the gay club. She was bi. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I remember like in high school, we had like cable for a little bit. So there was like Degrassi. And then there was like the lesbian relationship. And I remember like, it wasn't that I knew, but I knew what intrigued me. Like going back to curiosity, I knew what like made me kind of like, oh, like what's that? But like when I came out to people, all my friends thought I was asexual. They were kind of like, oh, this is a twist. We never thought of you as a sexual person.
We thought you were a sea sponge.
Yeah, we really.
Yeah.
But like, I think for me, I think I would have been a different person had my parents let me explore my interests, because I was really into wrestling. But my parents, like, whenever they caught me watching wrestling, they would beat me.
Sorry.
It's kind of like the gay thing, though. It's like, oh, this is masculine. Only boys can watch this.
Wow, even for wrestling.
Comic books. I was really into comic books.
They thought that was a guy thing?
It was a guy thing, because like I also had we had like family friends. They had one boy and one girl. The girl that was older, like she was older too, so her interests are a little different, and they're like more feminine. Like her and her friends were like dress up and like do this, right? But like the younger brother was my age, so we'd hang out. And then like I like always wanted to play sports. Like I wanted to play football with the boys. I wasn't allowed to do that. And then also the boys were kind of mean. Like they're like, oh, you're a girl. Like I had an in with like one boy, but when he's with his friends, it's not really the same thing, right? But we would read comic books together. Like he was really into comic books, and I got really into comic books. And I remember one time, even like I was sleeping over there, but like his sister like fell asleep, and it was like he had his friend over, so it was the three of us in his room reading comic books. Like we were probably like 6 or 7, you know what I mean? It's not like we were doing anything weird, but his dad freaked out with like a girl just being there with the boys. And then I also got in trouble for like I wasn't allowed to fuck with comic books anymore. So like I used to play Magic, couldn't do that shit anymore, because then it was like them cards were too masculine, and like also not a lot of girls played Magic. So it was just like I think like not that gender has anything to do with sexuality, but I think I was always a little more, I mean, back when I knew what sexuality was, gender and sexuality were very close together. So when I was having these masculine traits, like people were like, did you always know? I'm like, well, I always knew I was more of a tomboy. Like, but and then like the sexuality part never really happened until like I got to college, and then I was like, oh no, like I had freedom from golf a little bit because I was away from my parents, so I can like kind of explore things. I was like, oh no, like I do like, I think women are hot. I don't really feel anything with a dude. But it was a lot of me not wanting to explore either like gender or sex, because like my parents would always like, there was like physical. And I think that's the thing with Koreans. I'm not saying that all Korean parents beat their kids, but in the 90s, like all Korean kids,
that's how we got along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like that was the thing. Like I used to get my ass beat for like being a tomboy, and then so the gay thing never. I think I was too scared to even explore that option for a very long time. But I was like, sneaking in like any gay content that I can content that I could find, just because I was like, oh, this like piques my interest, but I don't know what that was yet. I didn't even know what masturbating was until high school. I think I remember asking an older guy friend of mine, I was like, what's masturbation mean? And he's like, I can't tell you. And then he told me to look it up in the dictionary. And I'm so stupid, because the dictionary definition is like self-pleasuring is what the dictionary was. It's very just generic. And I remember reading the definition and being like, I still don't get it. Like, why can't we talk about this?
You know what it is? It's like, yeah, when I'm watching WWE, I'm masturbating.
Yeah, I find this makes me happy. That's what you do. Things that makes you happy is masturbating, right? That's not the term, and I found that out really quick. But yeah, all that stuff was shut off from me, and then like, which is also a little interesting too, because my parents had a porn section at their video store. So I think that was another
the VHS. Oh, your parents own the VHS
video store. Yeah, they had 3, and each of them had a porn section, because that was like our biggest money maker.
That's hilarious.
And like I think that added another level of like, oh, we have to separate sex, like all sex, because this is like gonna corrupt. I don't know what they're very conservative, I think, all back then. Yeah. So the answer is no, because I didn't know it was an option, because it was always like there was always physical consequences when I would even explore anything outside of what I was supposed to be.
Because you weren't even allowed to be you at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows? I feel like I'm just starting to figure out me and my interests. But like I do kind of feel sad sometimes, because I feel like I could be a different and I'm trying not to, because there's no point in being sad of what could have been. But it is interesting to think about, like, man, I could have been, I mean, maybe they saved me. I could be like a Magic
player.
Yeah,
that's literally what I was thinking the whole time. Yeah.
Magic the card gathering,
drinking Mountain Dew every day.
Like I could have been like the female version of like the comic book guy in The Simpsons, like been, that. Yeah. Like, so maybe they saved me. Maybe it worked out. We don't know, but it kind of was like, I don't know. Were your parents racist too?
Transition. I mean, my dad would just say stuff like, there'd be basketball or like football on the TV. He's like, look at them playing. And I'm like, what? He's like, see, we can't do that, but they can't. They were born that way. They're genetics.
Oh, yeah,
But we're smarter. But he would tell him, but he made me believe I can't do anything sports-wise. He's like, you can never do that. That's not you. You're
and
not
then
black or white.
Yeah, and then but who knows who you could have been if you wanted to play sport. Like,
I was good at soccer, but then I didn't have the confidence to do it, because I kept getting shit on. If I had the confidence, maybe I could have been like, honestly, I could have maybe played in college or something. Who knows? Yeah,
I feel like it is like our parents have limited us. But like, for another example is like, I wasn't allowed to watch BET. Like, I had to sneak that in. Like, UPN, if we're really going throwback.
Dog, you gotta fucking talk about I can watch BET. That's hilarious. That's fucked up, but hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I would watch BET, and so I guess my parents weren't like racist like that, but yeah, your parents were racist.
They were, and and this is not to justify any type of racism, but like the Korean riots were happening. Like but we were in Northern California, but they were small business owners. And like, I also had another friend who, like, they all kind of business owners kind of know Korean business owners, like, friends, right? Yeah. Her family owned a business too, and they would get because of the neighborhood that they were in, like, I'm not saying that it was like a low income neighborhood, but most of the time they would get robbed or like things stolen from them were like black people. And then my parents were kind of the same thing, things that were stolen from them because of the certain neighborhoods. But then when they opened the store up in Davis, it was like white kids stealing shit, Yeah,
so it just turned into an age thing. Demographic based off
exactly.
Yeah,
so then I feel like, not saying that it justifies racism, but I think when you are an immigrant, you don't know what, and times were different back 30 years ago,
100%.
So like, and then the proximity and the demographic and the location. So I think that fed into it a little bit, and there was a lot of us versus them. So I could been a whole different person, dude.
Yeah, but you know what? Like accepting that. I mean, like fucking. Maybe you never would have done comedy, or found your girl and like been, all these things. Is we always, sometimes it's like fun to think about alternate universe Diana or Mike, but
yeah.
Fucking it is what it fucking is.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful now because I think I've gone through that journey, kind of similar way you have. Where like I'm very happy and becoming more happy with myself, and very excited with the things coming up and things that I feel like I can do now versus that I didn't think I could do things before. But I think maybe that's why I've always had like a little under. Like I'm realizing this through our chat.
I thought you were gonna say undercut.
I've always wanted to undercut, but the insecurities of being gay is probably why I play it down a little bit, which is ironic because like people say my comedy, and I've heard like people talking shit saying like, oh, I only do gay material, when it's like when I heard that the first time I heard that, it fucked with me so much because I was like, I don't want to be a gay comic. I don't want that label. And then I thought about it, I was like, well, why? If I just happen to, if all my material's gay, fuck it. Someone's gonna like it, but also on top of that, that could be a them problem, because if I talk about my girlfriend and you see that as gay material, not relationship material,
true,
that's a you problem.
That's true. Or like, oh, you always talk about Asian shit. I'm like, maybe because you're looking at me, and I mean, dude, I did the open mic a while ago, like a couple years ago, and then I did a German accent, and then they were like, you sound Chinese. I'm like, that's because you're looking at me.
Yeah.
And you see this thing, and you're not hearing what's coming out of my mouth, So there is a bit of that, like, I see you one way, so everything you say is gonna be coming out that way. Yeah. So you're like that. I'm good on you for figuring that out, because fuck them, like really fuck anybody, right?
Yeah. Anyone that's talking shit about what, because it's like if it's not for you, it's not it's not for you. But I think too, it's like I'm trying now that like we're talking about them, like fuck, I do think there is like underlying trauma with me with like the gay thing, and which is why it's very hard for me to embrace. Because I was at a mic and this comic came up to me and was like, oh yeah, like you don't look like a gay. I forgot how he worded it, but basically said something about like you don't look gay or something like that.
Typical.
Yeah. And then I remember my response was, oh, thank you. And then I was like, what the fuck? Like, why was that a compliment? What the fuck did, like, why, I mean, he was, I understand like what he was saying. This was all dialogue within me. Like, I'm not going to knock someone for, in their mind, giving a compliment, but it's kind of like, why did I think that was a compliment? Why is looking gay not something that I'm so terrified of? Why am I so and I think it comes down to like, yeah, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to even explore anything that brought me joy, and right now being gay is one of the things that brings me the biggest joy. I'm very gay. I have a long-term girlfriend. We have 2 cats. Like,
you work from home.
I work
That's
from
gay.
home. Well, I used to work from home, and now I don't have a job, which is gay.
So gay.
So gay. Being broke is so gay.
Then I'm gay too, I guess. Shit.
Hey, you don't like going down on women, so
I could be. Fuck.
Explore. We're gonna go
Steve,
deal with that.
Steve, come to my house, Steve. I don't even know who Steve. I don't know. There's no Steve. Anyways.
but it's I think I think that's probably what I probably should work on next. I didn't realize that's where all that shit came from, but it really is, because like, yeah, I used to get anything that I like I wanted to be Wolverine so fucking bad, dude.
I just saw you as Wolverine right now. You just said that? I just saw you.
I like would like pretend to be a superhero. Like I did like tape chopsticks to my hands. And, like,
oh my God.
Like I went all out, but then like I could only do that when my parents were at work, because when they would see me do that, they'll be like, oh, you want to be a boy. And I think maybe they thought maybe their fear was that, I don't know if trans was even within but I think their fear was I was going to be gay or different. I think it was just something, but also I'm an only child. So I think there's a lot of pressure with like this one, we can't fuck up, or by doing that, they fucked me up. But like, I think that's kind of what, because it's not accepted. It's getting better. I think there's a lot more gay Koreans, and Koreans are
there's
talking
even some
about
trans on the actual like variety shows or regular shows where they're hosting.
Do you remember when, I think her name was like Harisu? When she came out, that was a huge fucking deal. She was the first one, I think, and that was like
I think so, yeah.
Early 2000s.
Dude, she was hot as fuck.
Yeah, and wow, maybe I like subconsciously knew because when she came out, I think there was a part of me that was like that felt different about it. Not that I was like, oh, she's hot. I think I felt like, oh, maybe I can be okay. And it's just like, you know, when you look back on things, like you didn't have words, the vocabulary for it back then. So I think like when I look back on certain things, there were things that I'm like, oh, I felt a little different. Cause like that feeling that I had, it was also the same feeling that I had when I went to my first Pride, where I felt safe and okay and like hopeful that this could be the world that I can live in. And I think now, I mean, the whole gay conversation is completely different now, but I think, looking back on it, I'm like, oh no, I for sure was like born gay. I just was never allowed to be. But like the moments that I was exposed to a gay culture or gay something, I felt that camaraderie of like, oh, this feels right. Like this feels something good is happening. But it's kind of crazy to think, yeah, that was a long time ago. And I don't think like there was really that much gay stuff. But I know Korea's getting better because like before the pandemic, I think they had like the queer festival. The fact that they call it the queer festival seems more woke than the Americans, because the Americans call it like LGBTQ plus or whatever. But like Koreans straight up call theirs the queer festival. But the cops, there was like protesters, right? The cops actually pushed the protesters out.
Wow.
Which like when I saw that, dude, I just started crying. Like, cause I was just like, holy fuck, like, can I go to Korea now and like not bring shame to anybody? Or like I do think about like, okay, when is it going to be okay for me to go with Kayla? And like that's also one of the things that motivates me in comedy, is because I know for Koreans, like the more famous you are, the more accepting they'll be, you know? And I want to be able to take someone that I love that's probably, you know, is going to be my wife, like to Korea to experience like my family and my culture. Everyone's over there. So it's like things like that, you know, it kind of fucks with me in a sense, to be like, I felt very long that I'm like, I identified very heavily with like, oh, I'm gay over being Korean. And now when I'm kind of like, well, gay is not really, it's an identity, but it's not like, and there is like a cultural aspect of it, but it's not, I don't want to be just gay. Like I am Korean. I'm very proud of being Korean, but I also turned myself off of even thinking I can explore the Korean side of me, because I thought, and I told myself, they're never going to accept me. Like I can like never be accepted. And I, you know, I think realizing change and seeing change happen is good. And also like we can't deny that like all K-pop men are just too pretty.
That's not real.
That's not real. You know what real. I mean?
Not
I'm like, so I'm like, you guys are gonna have to open up to the gay thing eventually, completely.
Because you guys are basically there.
Yeah, you're already there.
And you know what I think? When I see how pretty they are, I'm like, you guys have had to have like back-to-back jacking off one day or something, or just like you touch each other a little bit. You're too pretty. Look at each other, and then if you like women, but you look like a hot, like a kind of like a woman almost. Yeah. You might want to do something. If you're all that good looking and you get a little drunk, maybe you did a little something. And I'm fully convinced that they probably have. There's at least two of them.
Well, and they can't go out.
Yeah,
you know, you can't just
exactly. They can't go out.
It's prison rules. You know what I mean? Like,
and then when you're in prison, you got to get what you can get.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you guys are gonna be open to this shit later, but like, it really does. Like, I don't know. The whole Korean and gay identity thing has been very complicated, and something that I think I'm just getting to a good point of doing in my stand up, because I was telling you, it was like it gets so sad at a certain point, and like. No one wants that. The only people that can get away with that are Hannah Gatsby. Not Hannah. Is it Hannah Gatsby? The short hair lady. Yeah. Where she was like, and this is, I mean, this is kind of off of a tangent. I will say this is kind of what angered me about her special. Not angered me, but her being like, oh, like people don't want to call this stand up and they want to call it a one woman show. And because she specifically says in her first special, like, I'm not going to break that tension for you guys. I want you guys to feel that tension, feel that sadness or whatever. Huh. And I was like, okay, you can do that as a white woman. To be completely honest, you can. But if you have a person of color go up and tell their sad shit, no one in the audience is gonna want to book them again. If they're booking them for comedy, it's very much you have to turn your trauma and work extra hard to make that funny.
And somewhat relatable
And
or
somewhat relatable.
digestible.
Or digestible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You can't just be like, I want you guys stay sad. That's a you problem now.
Yeah.
If I want to get booked again, I better learn how to be fucking funny. And I think that to me was like kind of like a huge disconnect, because I was like, that's your privilege, dude. And the fact that you can't recognize it really upsets me. But that's where I struggled with so long, because I was like, I want to explore this Korean stuff. I want to explore this gay stuff. And it takes a longer time. So I'm already almost 10 years in. Like I'm at 9, I think. And it's like, I'm pretty confident the first 15 years of my career are going to be me working on exploring how to fit those identities together and talk about it and talk about the trauma of like trying to process all these feelings and making it funny and digestible for people, because that shit is not fucking easy. Yeah. And you know, like when you do anything that isn't like kind of like lighthearted, it's also like the crowds, you know, when you're not a headliner and they're not here to see you, you're just the opening out. You're just there for like to loosen them up. But if you make them cry before you bring up the headliner, you think you're going to get a job again? No. Like, so like, that's kind of like where I'm like, I feel like it's taking me a bit longer because I have to be more careful with everything. And I'm starting to accept that like, okay, if people say I can only do gay and Korean stuff, fuck it. Like I'm purposely working on that because I know someone else is going to need it, because I needed this. And Margaret Cho was that for me for a little bit, but I think it's just a different time period, because her stuff was just very funny, very like, not necessarily, it was relatable for some people, but it was like, I think like that time, a lot of people, I would say like looking back on it, like I see a lot of people more laughing at the situation, not with the situation. And that the 90s were a different time, and she was like the first to kind of do something like that. Right. So like for me, I'm learning how to like communicate this where people are laughing with me and not at the situation. Because in the beginning too, it's like talking about my Korean mom, like people were like, where's your accent? You know, when you talk about your mom and stuff like that, like that'll make it funny. And it's like, okay, but that's not the point. Also, I can't do an accent without it making it sound super racist.
Do it right now. Do an accent.
What should I say?
Just say, did you eat your dinner today?
Oh, Mike, yeah. Did you eat? I can't. Like, that's me trying. Did you eat?
You sound like you have brain damage.
But that's the thing. I can't.
Like you just had a stroke and you're trying to recover.
Because I can't. I can barely speak English on my own, dude. Like.
Yeah, but it's good that, like, honestly, man, like, I did the accent for a little bit in the beginning, and then I was like, is it funny just because the accent? So when I do my impressions of my dad now, it's like straight super English, but I learned how to make it funny just doing that. So now lately I was thinking, what if I just add a bit, because he did have an accent.
Yeah.
But not exaggerated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also, I don't know. See, we get shit on if we put an accent on, even though that's real.
Yeah.
But everybody else, Southern accent, nobody's like, dude, that's such a white, like you're so white.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole thing.
I think I agree with you on that. And I think it is because like a lot of the times too, especially when you're starting out, you don't know how to do it where it doesn't come off as you're making fun of them. And I think, like you said, you went through the process of like, I got to joke to this point without it to get to the content. But then the second layer, and this is all just becoming a better comic, you know, going back and adding that part, because then you're telling the story how it is, because you shouldn't be ashamed of it. I've also I have this bit about boricha. For a long time, I would never say boricha.
I remember that bit. Yeah.
But I just started saying boricha because I didn't want people. I always thought like, oh, if they hear not an English word, they'll like.
Oh, even
down.
a word.
The word.
So not even an accent, a word.
No, just the word.
Shit.
Because it was just like, I also started comedy in Sacramento where it's predominantly white, and it always felt like, you know, you if you are Asian, you're kind of like I guess like the minstrel like a kind of like a caricature. You're not really like that. So like, since I don't come off that way, I was like, oh, I don't want to piss off the white people. I don't want to piss off this audience by speaking a different language. Like, oh, stay in this country. Like, then, you know, like there's been times where I've been heckled for shit. Like I have been heckled for being gay or talking about gay stuff before. I almost got in a fight. Did I tell you this?
Wait, what?
Okay, so like I was at this bar and I was closing out this bar show, and everyone else before me, like literally the comic before me, did 10 minutes of dick material and even talked about another guy's dick, talked about the guy's dick that tried to fight me, and like was the overall very gay. The exchange was very gay, okay? Because they're like talking about each other's dicks and like very gay. So, and it wasn't even like in a comparing way, it was like gay. But then I go up and I say something about gay, and then I remember there was like a table and I thought I was safe because there was definitely a gay person there at that table. She looked gay. She looked what I was scared to look like, you know, like,
yeah, she's your dream.
yeah, right. And then she looked at me when I said, and she was even like, no, because apparently the area is like super conservative. Okay. And then this guy yells out like, I said something, and then he yells out like, oh, who cares? And I was like, I was a little newer. I couldn't really, I kind of just like stumbled around, couldn't say anything back. And then he starts yelling more and more. And then the crowd, the bar people weren't doing anything. They were kind of like on his side, right? And then I forgot what he said, but I fucking just saw red. And I just was like, I started making fun of him for like drink. I was like, I hope you're not driving. I made a joke about him like drinking and driving. And I'm like, as an Asian person, I'm telling you not to drive. Like I made a racist joke, whatever, right? But that got the crowd to turn on my side. So when they turned on my side,
and we're on your side.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I made that joke,
yeah.
He got mad that they went on my side because they started on his side. Fucking got up and started coming towards the stage.
No way.
And then I got more mad and I started saying some shit about like, I'm a grown one. I'm sick of fucking men telling me what to do. And I was like trying to be like, yeah, come up and I'll fuck you up. Yeah. Like, and then before he can come on, like someone like the bartender kicked him out or something like that. But it took me making a joke and kind of making a racist joke, right, for them to get on my side. Otherwise this drunk dude would have fucking come at me. And like we went outside to go smoke, and like they like the dudes that there was a couple big guys on the show, so they actually like stood around me because the guy was like waiting.
Oh, that's good. Wow, he was waiting.
He was like waiting, and like me. He was like drunk and a psychopath, but like there was like it was definitely like. And then the fucked up thing too, part of it was recorded because one of the comics, instead of wanting to help, fucking took out his camera, dude. He took out his phone and started fucking recording.
He's like, I gotta capture this.
And then Kayla was like, she took her jacket off. She thought she was gonna have to go like throw down, but like, yeah, they didn't like the gay stuff. And that's another thing too, was just like sometimes in comedy feeling like navigating like how, you know, being gay, also being Korean, being like, oh, this is my shit, and being a woman, and like a lot of comedy audiences, especially in places, are mostly men, you know, and straight men, and not being able to like relate to them, like you were saying, like finding material, making your material digestible, because how we start are in these places. We are not constantly in theaters or selling out clubs with our name only. So how do you get to that point? You have to do the work, right? Yeah. How do you get to the work, do the work and survive? You got to make your shit digestible.
Yeah, that's why also when we did that show together for these like veterans.
Oh yeah,
you were like, I don't know how they're gonna take my gay stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That I get fucked up in the head now, because after that happened, I do every now and then I replay that.
Yeah, and then I was like, just fucking do it, dude. Because I had a feeling they would still fuck with it. Yeah. Even though it could seem like, oh, they would hate that type of stuff. And I would have had your back too if anything like happened, because I was like, man, fuck these old ass motherfuckers. if these old motherfuckers want to do some shit, I love you guys. You guys were nice, but if you guys like turned, I'd be like, okay, so what are you gonna? I'll make them cry. I know how to make old people cry. I've done it before with words.
That is so funny.
In a road rage incident, I made a guy cry in his car.
Would you do? Why?
Well, because he was honking at me. I'm not proud of it, but he was honking at me when I was gonna make a left turn on the intersection. I had like a quarter of a second to make the yellow. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it in time, so I stopped, and he honked at me, and I just lost my shit, and I put my head out the window. I was like, "What's your fucking problem?" He's like, "You're supposed to go at the orange light," and I was like, "It's a yellow light. Do you want me to get a ticket? Do you want me to get a ticket?" I said it 4 times.
Yeah.
Do you want me to get a ticket? And I used to do this thing where I would tell myself a narrative of why the other person in the car's life is so horrible to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
So I can just go on with my day. And this is the first time where my head was out the window, and I was like, say it. And I looked at him. He was like 55-year-old Mexican dude, fucking in a pickup truck, like a nice pickup truck. Yeah. But I could tell he's, you know, doing like laborious stuff. Yeah. And again, out of shape and just kind of, you know, and I'm like, why would an old guy do that? I'm probably miserable. So I said, don't get mad at me because you regret every decision you've ever made in your life. And I'm young and I love my life, and you're old and you regret everything. And you hate yourself. Because I was like, well, what other guy would do that at that age? Unless somebody that is very angry at life because you hate yourself.
Yo, you fucked him up.
And I said that, and I went back in the car, and I got scared because when the anger went away, I was like, fuck, I got scared because I don't really want to fight, but I was like, fuck, if I have to, I guess. And then I look in the rearview mirror, and because he was waving his arm, screaming, and then while I was saying that, and then I look in the rearview mirror, he puts his hands down. His head tilts down a little bit. He raises his left hand to his eye, and he starts wiping his eyes like, I made a motherfucker cry.
Dude.
Because I said the truth. I didn't say, you dirty fucking Mexican, racist, because I don't.
The truth hurts more. The truth hurts more. When you go for that shit, when you go for the core like that, oof.
Yeah, and I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like I do, and then that's why I don't do it, and I can. But I just choose not to because it's motherfucker could have fucking killed himself shit after that because it was too real.
It was too because it's a heightened situation with road rage too. Yeah. That is too real. Do you do roast battles?
I never have, but a few people that like I was on this not a roast. What is a roast when you fucking have a birthday and everybody says something about them?
Oh yeah, birthday roast,
birthday roast, yeah. And then I didn't know we had to roast each other. And one of the girls was like, she got off stage and then she said, I left because I'm afraid of what you're gonna say. But she's never heard me be mean. But I think maybe sometimes the clips I put show me I can handle roast.
Yeah.
So they're like, what is he gonna really say? And I'm sure I could hurt people if I wanted to. Yeah,
that's why I won't do a roast because like I don't know where that line is because like when I'm mad, when I see that red, like I won't stop until the other person is crying, unless there's like the only thing that makes me stop is tears.
Yeah, that's fucking.
It's bad. Like I had such a temper. There's one person I made cry in my elementary school who was like the most liked person, and everyone. Oh, this was in middle school, and everyone was like, "Yo, you made her cry," and I was like. I didn't realize I fucked up until then. I was like, oh, yeah.
Fuck, the one we all love? We
love
her.
Like, she's the nicest person. I was like, no, I mean, yeah. But she didn't even do anything like that bad. But I just had such a bad temper and it just triggered something. And I just like went at it. And it's like, I don't even remember what I said. But I remember the look, like kind of like when you see that change in that person and you're just like, oh, I crossed the line. Yeah. Like this was too real. I don't know. Where do you think that comes from?
Korean.
Yeah.
No, seriously, Korean, because they're so good with the words. We know what hurts us.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of like figured out, okay, this is the way to do it without having to ever be racist. I don't ever get racist with the ever. And also that's like the last thing I think about. So it's like, I know it's going to hurt. And there's like this sick feeling of satisfaction while you're doing it.
Dude, that's my fucking problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell that story like I was a bad person, but honestly, I bragged about it for a little bit. Right, like, there's a little pride and like being like, no, don't fuck with me. I'll make you cry. But like, it's not I'm not proud. sort of like, it's not a trait that I like to tap into, but
you're
it's a
happy
trait.
you kind of have that. If you need to use it.
That's the problem. Yeah, it's like our defense mechanism, which is like a weird, I mean, I guess it's better than some things, but it's we are also a lot of, our culture and like how we express things, there's a lot of pain. Like,
hell yeah.
And like you watch Korean drama. I have a friend, she was like telling me she was gonna see who's the guy that did Old Boy.
Oh fuck, I don't remember his name, but he
has another movie out.
It just came out?
I think so, because she was gonna go watch it in theaters. So she said like Old Boy. She was like, it's the guy that did Old Boy, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be some fucked up shit. She was like, yeah, I blocked out my schedule after it, because like, yeah, I mean, anyone that's seen Old Boy, I think Old Boy is like a prime example of like how fucked up like we can be, and our stories are. Even Parasite was kind of fucked up too. Squid Game is all like daddy issues. Like it's like we are. I think it's because we know, like you said, we know it in ourselves, and then we don't want to process. It's just like straight mind to mouth, like no heart. Like it's just, it skips that filter.
Yeah, we all just have that, and then we'll get out of here soon. But I wanna touch on this real quick that I'm really curious about. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the gay thing for a second. Okay. Okay. You coming out to your parents, what are you saying, that was the joke thing? That's when they found out, or they already knew you were gay? Because this is an interesting thing to me, because my coming out was me going up to my mom and saying, I'm pursuing stand-up comedy and acting. And that was like really hard for me to tell my family. Like it was so hard for me to do that. Like that was my coming out and accepting that's who I am. So I can only imagine.
So I came out with the stand-up thing first. And I don't think they really understood it. The hardest thing was telling them, and it might have been a relief for everybody, telling them that I was not going to play golf anymore. Because like my family invested so much money and everything into my career, and like me doing well in golf was supposed to like be enough to take care of my family. So then like everyone, like we all, like they were in a lot of debt and stuff like that. So when I told them I was not going to do golf anymore, that was hard. And then I think I waited to tell them about the stand-up thing. And then I was dating a girl who was like, if you don't tell them that you're like, we're dating, like it's over. And it was so fucking dumb. We weren't even like official. We weren't even like really together. She was fucking with me. Like, I ended up coming out to my mom. So I think, oh wait, no. Yeah, so I think that's what happened. I came out to my mom, and my mom was actually more kind of okay with it because she thought I was gonna tell her that I was either doing drugs or was a drug dealer. So she thought that's where the conversation. So it went no more golf. I want to do stand up. She thought I was going to be a drug dealer or doing drugs. Yeah. But then it was like, oh, I'm gay. And it was weird because I came out to my mom because she was like just hammering me. And my dad, I never had the conversation with my dad. Ever. The only time we had the only time we had the conversation was when he kicked me out when he saw my set.
That's when he discovered it.
Wow. But like the issue, so they didn't necessarily have an issue with the gay thing as much. I think they thought it was a phase, so I think they weren't really bothered by it. But what bothered them was I was telling people. So I think they thought like I could be gay and literally not tell anybody.
Like a
secret gay, which in which case is like, what's the matter if you're gay or not if no one else knows? Right. So when they found out I was telling people, or their quote was advertising being gay, that's when it turned and they were like, oh fuck no. Like, so I think they handled the gay thing a little, my mom did handle it a little better. When I came home and my dad was home, after my mom said she told my dad, we ignored it. And then when he got sick from his stroke and he was like he was bedridden, we still ignored it. He met Kayla kind of sort of, but we never like everything between us, because a lot of it was golf, was just like kind of ruined. So I think the reason the gay thing didn't have as much of an impact was because the golf thing really kind of set a different tone for it. Like, this is like already the worst that could happen.
Yeah, because fucking going into debt and then putting, that's crazy. Like putting that much pressure on and you knew from the get that's why they were doing it. Did they tell you, or like a couple years into
No,
it?
it was like always like, because Pac City was doing well and stuff, right? So it was like, oh, like when you get famous, like like Pac City's dad's famous, like you're gonna, like your dad's gonna do well. And they had this idea of money, and like being able to like do things, because they gave up a lot of their life in order for me to pursue this. Because I did say this is what I wanted, but then like my dad kind of took over and like went to like, they think tiger moms are rough. Get an athletic dad. Like get a dad in a sport, yo. Like they fucking, it's like, it really like, he would say that I was lucky because there was a news article that came out that said that Pac City's dad left her in a graveyard and to spend the night to make her mentally tough. Jesus. He was like, you're lucky I haven't done that to you yet. Like that was like where we were with that. Like I used to get beat with golf clubs. Like, God damn. So like it
to connect you further to the golf force.
Yeah, right. It's just like be one golf with the club. But like, so it like over time kind of deteriorated my love for it. And so by the time I think I told them I wanted to quit, they kind of had a feeling, but I think they were kind of holding on to like, maybe some hope that there was
retirement.
Yeah, of retirement. Also like not embarrassment, because I think it's also like they tell the family I'm going to be this big golfer.
Wow.
Everyone knew me. Like even everyone in Sacramento, the Korean community in Sacramento didn't, like my friend's brother didn't know my name. He saw me walking on the street one time and was like, oh yeah, I saw your golfer friend.
Oh, you're known as a golfer.
I was only known as the golfer.
Jeez.
So like, I think that's the thing. It's like, I think also that's probably why the gay thing is kind of like, I have all this stuff with it. But overall, like the thing that fucked me up the most was just waking up one day and being like, everything I dedicated myself to for like 15 years means nothing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's the big thing,
yeah.
Right? I mean, even for me, when I was 29 and I left marketing, that's all I knew how to do,
right?
And now it was terrifying because then it's like, who am I? What can I do?
Yeah,
And
like you said, it was terrifying to come up to tell your parents about your mom about the stand up and acting thing, because like marketing like that, I'm assuming like you were doing well. I mean, you crush it with like social media now, so I'm assuming that means you were good at your marketing job.
I could have made a lot of money. Yeah,
and I'm sure they were proud, either like telling friends or whatever, and then you come in and be like, JK, I'm gonna start over and do something that like is harder. Like,
yeah, and it doesn't even sound cool, and it's nothing to be proud of for Korean culture. And I would say that to my uncle, because my uncle's was like fucking doctor, and then I always felt like I had to get his acknowledgement, because he didn't really acknowledge me for such a long time. And then I said that, and I'm like, yeah, we have our own team, we live in a house, this and that. And I would just say these things just to try to like inferiority complex thing, and to try to get accepted. And then I didn't get accepted until I walked up to him and he said, what do you do every year? Like, what are you doing? And then I said, I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, I'm pursuing stand-up comedy and acting until I die. And it didn't break eye contact, and I fucking meant it. And I meant it with every inch of my being. And this is before I had any following, before I could even see any hope of a light. I was like, this is what I'm fucking doing. And then he looked at me, he was like, oh okay. And funny enough, I get more respect from him and everybody else, and they're more excited, and they ask me questions because I'm doing this thing instead of trying to appease to people. That's the funny thing. When you try to appease to people, and that's when they're like, I know I have power over you.
Yeah.
But then when you like stick by your guns and you fucking do it, doesn't matter what it is, and you fucking do this thing and you keep going, and then you start to make some progress, then they're like, huh. Then they're able to look at you a little differently, or a lot differently, and then be like, the curiosity kicks in, and I wonder how that's going. And then hear like my aunt tell him, he does this, he done that. Like, it's like, oh shit, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of that. And then the like owning, feeling fucking more like I'm me, and then me doing a show over the weekend for the like International Korean Lawyer Association. That to me was like the final like acceptance of like the first time I felt that my dad was truly proud of me. Even though he died 12 years ago, I felt that he was proud because he wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, and he just but I was always this like fucking guy of this that didn't fit the culture.
Yeah.
But then I got paid to do comedy in my own way, what I want to do for Korean Lawyer Association.
Yeah.
Like 200 of them, just Koreans, and they loved it. They were laughing. I have the audio of it, and like that was like a proper send off for me because I got emotional after that. I was like, this came full fucking circle. All this shit, all the pain, the heartache, and it was like a sending off that last bit of like. I don't know if I want to call it shame or fucking not 100% self-acceptance because of like some deeper rooted family stuff, but that was like 100% free. You know what I'm talking about? How full circle is that? These are Korean motherfuckers.
And then also, but the thing is too, it's like almost like more, it's very poetic, but it's also like, for me, like there was a time where I like lost a golf tournament. I had a shitty last round, but my teammate won, and my dad was like, he was different. He wasn't necessarily pissed, but he was like different. And then like he's like took me aside and he was like, because everyone like ran up to my teammate and gave her a hug, congratulated her, right? And he took me aside and he was like, like what I want for you. He's like, I want people to look at you that way. And I think the thing is, when you come and do something you love, you did stand-up comedy for people who your dad wanted you to just be another one of, but you came in and you were the center of attention for a community or a profession that he wanted you, because he didn't know this was an option. So you came in and you were like, look at me doing better, kind of in a way of like, I think like he just wanted you to have respect. And you had the ultimate respect in that moment. They were sitting and listening to you. If you're a regular lawyer, you'd be sitting and watching someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that the full circle moment is like, it is a full circle moment, but it also feels like it's like you kind of came up on top for you because you did it, like you said, you did it your way. But that like, I feel like a lot of Korean parents, they just want their kids to just be okay and not struggle. And that's where the money and the profession thing comes in, because they're just terrified that they're going to struggle.
And that's what they know. And
that they're like, this is the only good deal and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you saw that cartoon where it was like the mom pointing to the janitor or something and being like, oh, I want you to study hard so you don't look like that. And then the other mom being like, I want you to study hard so you don't become that person that's judgmental of the career or whatever.
Wow.
And everyone was like, yeah, like you shouldn't do that. But I was like, I feel like what the missed part was like, that mom only said that because they don't want their kid to struggle. That's it. I think that's a universal thing everybody wants. Like, they don't want their kid to struggle. And when you don't know any different, and when you don't know that you struggle doesn't necessarily have to be money based, you know what I mean? You can find happiness and success in something that isn't money based. They just don't know that because like Koreans are terrible with emotions, right? Like that part gets left out. Like there is like, that's their way of protecting. So for you to come in and I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's like I'm so proud of you, dude. Like, that's so dope, because it's like not only full circle, but it really is like you should feel good. And I see why your dad would be proud, because like you took what he said and did it your way and better. You're not just another face. You are somebody else. And like, that's ultimately one. But like that for me, like that's kind of like what triggered for me was like my dad telling me, he's like, I want people to look at you like that. I don't want you to be the one looking up to people and kind of just being a follower.
That right there, these are things that we learned like in our 30s, right?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
empathy,
yeah.
because we didn't have it in our 20s with the Korean stuff.
That's true. Is the empathies? Yeah.
It's weird, right? But the value system now, it's like, before it's like, you hate me, you don't accept me, you fucking don't love me. But now it's like, okay, they are going off of what their value system of, and again, survival, like you said, what makes sense to them. Because for us, this would not have even been possible, like stand up. Like, we didn't even know we could do stand up like 10 years or fucking 15 years ago. Was that a thing?
Idea. No, I mean, Margaret Cho was like, I remember, I think I was 8 when I saw her special, but like when I saw that, I just thought, oh, she exists. I never in a million years thought I could do that.
Right.
That's the difference, right? Especially if there's only one. Like you just think, oh, that's they exist. It never applies to you. That's kind of the difference. Versus now when you see a lot more, you're like, oh, there's more people doing it. I can do it too.
Yeah, just by like quantity of it.
Yeah.
So it's like even us coming from their stand-up in Korea is very new.
Yeah.
Very fucking new. Like Danny Cho's out there teaching Koreans how to do he's one of the OGs how to do stand-up, and he's doing well. But like for us to do a thing that our immigrant parents couldn't even comprehend is in itself, we are living a dream in a sense.
Yeah.
And comfortably able to go up, and because our biggest struggle is trying to get booked on more shows, get funnier, and then get further in the career. But ultimately we're in the arena making moves instead of can I really go up and just talk for 5 minutes straight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's also perspective shift. So all these things, man, like life, I don't know, man. It's just like, I just think that as tough as life can be, I think there's a lot to be grateful for. I think that there is, like it's nice because you're on this journey with people.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the beauty of it. And I don't know, it's just, I've been feeling pretty good lately. So you're catching me at a time where things just kind of really sunk in, and I'm truly enjoying the process now versus before just hating myself. And, so we can have like cool conversations like this and shit.
Yeah, we're both getting old. I think that's what happened. We caught each other when we're getting old.
Right? 33, 34.
Yeah, dude. Oh, shit.
I'm 33, dude.
Damn. So you haven't even been calling me Nuna. You've been disrespectful this whole entire time. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, you know why? Because I'm trying to break the past trauma by disrespecting Korean culture. How old did you think I was? You thought I was older than you?
I did, because you do give me oppa energy. Like I feel like you would protect me. Like that's why I thought you were older.
I get that
than
a lot, even from older women. Like people that are in their 40s, they're like, you have like, like daddy vibes. I mean, not trying to be sexual, like but just like fatherly kind of like. That's interesting.
That's why you're looking for someone motherly to match your fatherly energy.
Dude, honestly, I am, because we're both taking care of each other in that nurturing format. Because I should have probably said that earlier. I didn't really think of it until you said it right now. But that is what I want. Like, I take care of you in like whatever way I can. Because I like to be loving too, and like do words of affirmation and like, it's okay like that. And then they do that back to me, and they show me in whatever fucking other way. So like, do you have any just a final quick word? If you don't, it's fine. Just so to the audience, whatever.
Hey, just I think like quick word on like everything we're talking about is just like, figure your shit out. Don't put it out to other people. Figure your shit out, and be kind to yourself, because once you get kind to yourself, like that's when the fun starts.
100%. All right, you want to plug in your socials?
Yeah, D-Hong Comedy for everything. Website D-Hong Comedy. Got some dates coming up. Super stoked. So check it all out. Guys, check it all out. And look, if you're gay, just be gay. Don't be afraid to look gay. Yeah, look gay. Look very gay. Yeah, I tried to not look Asian before, and I'm like, this is not going to change. No, it's not. Especially Asian. When you're showing, you don't have any hair hiding your eyes, dude. You can't hide nothing with the bangs. You know what I'm talking about? But guys, this has been another episode of the Setbreaker Podcast. Thank you for listening, and until then, I will see you next time. Bye.